My name is Monica Gleberman, and you're listening to Silence on Set podcast. On today's podcast, we're talking to the cast of Outlander Season 7. Following the harrowing events of Season 6, Jamie and young Ian race to rescue Claire before she's tried and wrongfully convicted for the murder of Malva Christie. But their mission is complicated by the beginning of a geopolitical firestorm. The American Revolution has arrived. In the 7th season of Outlander, Jamie, Claire, and their family are caught in the violent birth pains of an emerging nation as armies march to war and British institutions crumble in the face of armed rebellions. So to start us off is Izzy Meikle-Small and Joey Phillips to talk about their characters who are the hunters joining this season. I'm obsessed with Rachel and Dr. Hunter.
Thank you very much.
So I wanted to ask you, for both of you, obviously everyone's probably asking what it's like to be on the show and all of that kind of stuff. I'm going to go past that. It's fun to be on the show. You guys are excited. Look forward to for the hunters and how involved they get as the season progresses.
I think it's exciting. They both go on huge personal journeys. They change so much throughout the course of the season. Their relationship changes with each other. They're so close. But, you know, Denzel's watching Rachel grow up like before his eyes. She's becoming a woman and it really redefines their relationship. And everything that we go through in terms of the wall is just harrowing because we're so not used to that kind of environment. And seeing the way that it plays out for both of us, I think is really, really interesting. And you're doing some great medical work out there.
Thanks, I'm trying. Well, I think, you know, they add like a really nice new layer to the show as well, the way that they see the world and how sort of kind they are and how they want to go out into the world, I think is really amazing to add to the show. And I think the relationships that they have, not only with each other, but with the other characters are really interesting, and they form quite deep connections quite quickly. And we see how those progress throughout the show, which I think is really exciting.
Well, it's really nice whenever we see someone that's human and has humanity before it was cool, right? Or before it was in. And like and the two hunters, I'm just going to call you guys the hunters. The two hunters have that. You guys have that where you just want to love everybody and you don't believe in a lot of the things that are going on, which ultimately was the right side of history back then. And so it's just really fun to like see that on television. Was it fun to be able to articulate that in a way where, you know, because the world is so interesting, but we all relate on a television show. So to see that on, for you guys to be able to show that on air and say like, listen guys, like it's okay. Like we believe in certain, you know, X, Y, and Z, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we had the moral high ground. I felt quite
exactly.
Like, we're very like forward thinking characters and we really kind of thought leaders in that way, I guess. Like the Quakers, I feel really proud to play a Quaker, I think, like, and didn't really know much about them before. We don't have that many in the UK. So I feel like researching about Quakers and the Quaker faith, I don't even really know like Quaker oats or like, I walked past like Quaker meeting houses, but I never really knew what it was. And I think that, I feel really proud to play a pacifist in this terrible time. And I think that it was great to be able to, also it's like a lot of violent characters on the show. So we really are like a fresh perspective. And I feel proud to be able to bring that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, the Quakers, like as you said, were so ahead of their time. They really saw men and women as equals. And I think it's lovely to be able to show that on the show. And I think, you know, at a time where there's, you know, political like unrest or whatever, you know, Denny says that he wants to join the Continental Army as a surgeon because he believes that liberty is a gift from God, which I think in his beliefs, that's a human right. And I think it's amazing that he's fighting for human rights. And I think it's really a cool thing to do.
I always joke that Danny was the original feminist, like male feminist.
Absolutely.
Well, I know it's amazing, and what's so fun is you guys get to say like we were the best characters, so you guys get to, you know, have that off.
You're allowed to say that.
No,
you're not gonna say it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll say it. You guys are.
We're not gonna argue with you.
I want to ask you guys, what was some of the, you know, funnest or hardest things that you guys had to do? Some shenanigans. Like I said, I feel like you guys are the fun, crazy ones. So I want to hear some crazy stuff that happened. And then also, what are you looking forward to the most? Because it's such a crazy, extra large season, you know, heading into what is going to be their revolution. And then obviously we have one final season left after this. So, you know, what are you looking most forward to and for fans to see?
You know, there were a lot of shenanigans on set. I think we're both quite guilty of, if I'm tired, obviously we're getting up really early, and when I'm tired, I like get really hysterical, like laughing wise.
Yeah.
And I think that John is very funny, Joey is very funny, Katrina's laugh is so infectious. And we'd be doing a really serious scene and we'd cut and she would just make me laugh, and I was like, he really fucked me over. So now I can't, now I'm just giggling and this is a nightmare. But yeah, lots of shenanigans. And then in terms of next season, I think, you know, with this season we were introducing our characters and, you know, we've gone through a lot, but I feel like we're really going to see them kind of moving into the next stages of their lives in various ways, and we're going to further develop these characters that we really love so much.
I mean, yeah, I mean, exactly what Izzy was saying. I think even though everyone, you know, takes their jobs very seriously and really cares about the show, like it's always done with such a joy of spirit, and everyone is always in a great mood and cracking jokes and stuff on the set. And if somebody goes, then everybody goes. And like there was a scene we were filming, I was in a boat and you and Pat and Sam were in a boat, and
the infamous.
It was just like spinning around and not going right, and Sam couldn't use the oar, and Katrina was laughing and Izzy was laughing and I was laughing, and like I don't even know if we got the shot.
Sam and Katrina were in bits.
Yeah.
I couldn't look at Katrina because every time we made eye contact, we would both just break into laughter. Again, it was like a very serious, high stakes scene.
Yeah.
Like panic, like very serious. And then she'd look at me and I'm like,
yeah. And he just can't. He just had to turn away and hope for the best. But yeah, and just it's just like such an exciting show to be a part of. But like I said, it's like a really fun time to be joining the show. I think it's such an epic season. I think it's so worth the wait. I know it's been a long Outlander. So yes, sorry about it. But it'll be worth it. And yeah, just I hope everyone's ready.
Everyone loves it as much as we do.
Yes.
Up next is John Bell, David Berry, and Charles Vandervaart.
So, first of all, who's the best dressed today?
Charles. I think we're all slaying.
John, me.
We're all okay.
It's like that Spider-Man thing. We're all pointing at each other. Him.
I mean, my shoes are pretty great.
They are.
Oh, those are awesome.
Yeah.
We should take turns with the ascot and see.
Each person.
Feel free to switch it around as we're talking. So this season obviously is huge. It's big. There's so many things going on. There's so much stuff going on for all three of your characters. What are you most excited about in terms of character development for this season? Because all three of you have very major storylines this season.
I'm really excited for audiences to see Lord John just really in despair. You guys probably so funny, but like he's just in the worst shape of his life, like physically, I guess, and emotionally. Really. And that was very exciting to play. Miserable, actually, and I think I enjoyed being miserable on set for about 6 months, a bit longer. But he has been miserable for quite some time, but now he's really miserable. So we take it a much further. And I think audiences will really delight in Lord John's misery.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's awful. But we have reached a new level, but that's awful. We love John.
Kind of the opposite for Ian. He's having a great time. Yeah. He's about to maybe potentially meet somebody new who might become very important in his life.
Ooh.
You know, it's swings and roundabouts, you know.
No, I don't. I think I'm just copping all the time, honestly. I'm waiting for my moment.
You got to come back up at some point.
You'd think so.
I'm in similar spirits as Lord John, though. I mean, I start the season off real eager to go to war, and then it's straight misery after that. You know, it's losing, taking L's constantly.
Outlander.
So yeah.
It's true. It's Outlander. So basically, the only one that's winning right now is young Ian.
Yeah, and even then, he's still like dealing with some demons. So it's not all, you know.
Life
easy
for people
writing.
in Outlander is never easy.
Never easy. No.
Pretty difficult for some.
Thank you for that, Diana.
Well, what are you guys most looking forward to? Because I know there's some scenes with some of you together. There's some, so without giving anything away, because I've seen some stuff, so I don't want to get in trouble. But what are you guys most excited about in terms of being on screen together, working together, and, you know, just some of the American Revolution stuff that's coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I think young Ian and William's meeting was a scene that I was really looking forward to playing, and has a certain crackle and energy to it that I really, really love, as these two quite opposite characters linked in a way that only one of them knows about really kind of comes together. So yeah, it's a great, I love when Outlander does that, when it brings these two characters from like different parts and sees what it's like when they finally meet.
100%, yeah. Totally different experiences growing up and different sides of the war.
Yeah.
But I think we share a lot of similarities, and you know, we are cousins in the end too.
Yeah. I don't know what you two, but
I think young Ian's always a great wingman in any situation. You probably want him in any situation you're going into.
For sure.
He can take care of business.
Yeah.
So look, let's hope that Lord John and young Ian get
their
tagged.
moment.
Yeah, team together. I think they make a pretty formidable team.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I think the three of you make a very strong team. If they have all three of you together, I feel like nothing would get missed.
No, I'm with this team actually. We can you can sub in and out.
Yeah. Or suffering.
Or suffering.
Look, we might even see that too and see how that plays out in the season. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows how that team we could be like the dream team.
Do some damage.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to call you guys the dream team. So for the dream team, I'm going to ask you a two-part question. First, I wanted to know, for the three of you, what are you most excited about that you can kind of talk about? I know it's hard because it's Outlander and they make you sign your life away. And then also, what are you looking forward to as you enter the final season? Because there's so much more story to be told between the three of you.
I'm super excited about the war. I mean, it's such a massive historical event that we get to, we've had the privilege to put on screen. Season 8, I have no idea. I have no idea how they're going to end it. So, I mean, I'm excited for whatever happens, you know?
Yeah, I'd echo that. I'm very excited just to see how they wrap this epic love story up. None of us know, you know, we're all in the dark, so that's exciting. But I would also say that this season, it's the new faces that have really, you know, been exciting to work with. Charles, Izzy, Joey, we've got such a stellar new members of cast. So yeah, that's my kind of favorite thing from 7.
Really enjoying playing different aspects of the character. I think Gordon is going to see Lord John in a different light. You've already said that, but he's going to be miserable. But there's a lot more dimension and color to the character than we've seen in previous seasons, and that was really, really interesting to play. I get to play opposite some people that in the cast that I haven't been able to work with before. So that's one of the great privileges of this role, is that I get to kind of weave in and out of the worlds of the Frasers and sort of mix it up with everyone. And it's been really great this season to get really in the mix of it, and audiences will know what I mean by that when they watch the season.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, here's executive producer Maril Davis.
So this year, obviously, we're heading into the American Revolution. Things are starting to kind of finally come to an head. And then we have one season left to go. So I know it's so sad. How are you guys working on, you know, what we could expect this season into wrapping the show for next season?
You know, I've mentioned this before, but when we were into filming season 7, we weren't sure if we were going to get a season 8. So the writers, when we started being in the room and talking about the season, we thought this could be it. So we were like, we're going to go for it. Like, we're going to, you know, we were already using a little part of 6 from last season. You know, we had book 7 and 8 still, because at that point 9 wasn't out yet, or it just come out. And we were like, let's go for it. We'll just put both books into one episode, one supersized episode. So it wasn't until about halfway through that we found out we were getting season 8. And at that point, it was too late to change the trajectory of the season. I mean, we changed the ending of season 7, but it's hard. I mean, I feel pressure going into the last season because, one, I love this current season so much. And, you know, we have Sinead O'Connor singing the theme song. I mean, there's so much that I was like, how are we going to top this for season 8? And I feel pressure knowing it's last season. I want a satisfying ending. I want the fans to have a satisfying ending. So I don't know. I mean, we're talking about it because we're obviously in the room on season 8, or we were before the writer's strike. I feel pressure about it, and sadness and every emotion possible.
So because you guys were prepping in, you know, worst case scenario, right? We might not have another season, and you kind of jam pack the season. Does that mean that book 9 might be seen for next season?
Oh, it will be. I mean, that's...
Oh, it will be. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. Season 8 will be book 9.
So for this season, obviously, to kind of like jump back, so much is going on. So how do you handle keeping all of that straight? Because you have episodes from last season that rolled over, and then you have this season, and, you know, and they're calling it like the extra large or like the maximum sin. So how do you keep track of the storyline, where you're going in the midst of all of these shifts that you kind of just mentioned that were happening?
UK actors call it a bumper season. I never know what that means, but I assume it means extra large. It was hard. I mean, this season, I'm not going to lie, was hard, but I think our writers did such an amazing job, not only because the 4 episodes we had from last season, it wasn't as easy as just saying, okay, we'll just, you know, put them on the front of this season. We really had to kind of shift things, and the storylines kind of stay the same, but we really had to kind of slice slightly redo them to make them a season opener as opposed to a season ender. But also, I think they did such a masterful job of combining books 7 and 8 in a way that feels seamless. I mean, definitely there were storylines we couldn't do, and storylines I think people will be sad that we couldn't do. There's no Fergus Marsley in this season. Couldn't do the Dottie storyline, which is a little sad for me personally. But I still think it's such a satisfying season, and they did such a great job of taking out like the essential parts, reducing some of the parts, and making a really comprehensive, exciting season.
So I want to ask, what are you most excited about, or what's a scene that you're like, I am so proud of the scene, I cannot wait for people to see it, that you could tease? And what are you hoping fans get out of it? Because there's a two-parter, right? We have 8 episodes and then another 8 later. So what are you hoping they kind of walk away with feeling as we enter our last season?
Well, some of my can't wait for people to see these things are back half, so I can't talk about them, but I am excited for people to see. There's a Jamie Brianna conversation in The Happiest Place on Earth that I think is really beautiful. So I'm excited for fans to see that. And then I just think this is one of those seasons you can't relax. You know, there are moments of, okay, taking your foot off the pedal, but I just think there are just so many, like an exciting moment per episode that I'm looking forward to fans seeing, that every episode I'm just like, oh my God, I can't wait for them to see it. And sometimes you have an episode during the season, you're like, you know, not our most exciting, but I don't have one this season.
Hope you guys enjoyed listening to the cast of Outlander talk about the show and what we could expect for this epic 16-episode season. The new season will debut on Friday, June 16th at midnight Eastern Standard Time on the Starz app, all Starz streaming and on-demand platforms, and internationally on the Lionsgate Plus premium streaming platform in the UK. On linear, it will debut on Starz at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States, so make sure you check it out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you're updated on all of our latest podcasts, and head over to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe so you're updated on all of our video content. Remember, all subscribers will see the video content first before it's promoted out to the world, so make sure you subscribe so you never miss a thing.